Hi and welcome back to part 2 of the We Needed Roads movie preview of 2023. And and I choked on breath.
Oh, there you go. That's how we started it.
That's how we start.
That's good.
Choking.
Keep it at that. Don't change it.
And last time we covered all the films we think you should see or avoid from January to July. And this time we're going to be covering all the films from August to December and those few films that we still don't have a date for but are supposed to come out this year. And finally, at the end of the podcast, we're going to each give our top 10 most anticipated films of 2023. So, let's go. And first up in August, the first film we're going to talk about, and that film, David, is Blue Beetle. Pretty sure that's not the theme song.
Theme song.
That's not what it's going to be. So, Blue Beetle is a DCU film, and it's going to be interesting to see how it falls in. But it's directed by Angel Manuel Soto, starring, and David, you're going to know this guy, Oni Bloody Miguel from Cobra Kai.
Miguel.
Zolo Mariduena.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know Zolo.
So, yeah, cool. And it's also got Susan Sarandon and Sharon Stone in it.
You know what? I'm glad that the Cobra Kai people are branching out. It's the last season of Cobra Kai coming up. It could be like for a lot of those guys, it could be like the biggest thing that they ever do.
Wow.
Much like with a lot of young actors turn out that way. So I'm glad that Zolo's gone on to be, now this will be the biggest thing he's done. And then this probably nothing will beat it.
Well, and the good thing he's got going for him is James Gunn is casting younger for his DCU, isn't he? He wants like younger versions of the characters they can stay with. So he's obviously, I'm guessing, his character.
So is Blue Beetle, like, what are we talking? Is that like an Ant-Man thing? Is that like an Egyptian thing? Because looking at the imagery, it looks like a scarab bug.
So you wanted to know about Blue Beetle. Well, Blue Beetle is a character called Jamie Reyes, and Wikipedia tells me that an ancient Egyptian, possibly alien scarab, bonds with Reyes and gives him a suit of alien armor, and eventually he joins the Teen Titans and then the Justice League. I've got to admit, I know nothing at all about Blue Beetle, and I'm sure fans will come for me, but the setup really doesn't interest me that much. I mean, we've had Egypt, we've had alien symbiotes here at Superheroes before, and none of them have really been done that well. I'm thinking about Moon Knight, which was fine, but I don't see it going anywhere, and Venom, which,
I thought you liked Moon Knight.
I liked it, but it's not gonna. I don't see them doing another season, even though there was like setups and we might go on for another one. But it felt, it's kind of your problem. Like you felt like a lot of the MCU TV stuff just didn't feel connected, and Moonlight felt so disconnected from everything else, which is good as a standalone. But I think I'm more interested now in how this film's going to fit into Safran and Gunn's plans going forward than the actual movie. And we still see no official images yet or trailer, so I'm giving this a 4, David, on the excitement level. Only a 4.
Okay, wow. Yeah, no, I'm going to go there with a 5. I'm going to go a little bit more than you, just to be different.
Is it because of Solo?
It's because of what?
Because of Solo.
Why not?
From the DCU to the MCU. And in August, yes, it is Nia DaCosta's The Marvels, starring Brie Larson, Teyonah Parris, Iman Vellani, and of course Samuel L. Jackson. Now, this is our second trip to Phase 5 of the MCU this year, and this seems the closest we've had so far to an all-female Avengers team-up, with the introduction of Miss Marvel's Iman Vellani in her first big screen appearance. And the setup, and this is spoilers.
This is your spoiler alert.
For the end of Miss Marvel, it looks like we're going to have a body swap MacGuffin, because the end credits scene saw Kamala apparently swap bodies with Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. So if Carol's in New Jersey, then where the hell is Kamala in Carol's body when the film starts? The film's also going to bring in Teyonah Parris' Monica Rambeau onto the big screen, because she only just acquired her powers at the end of WandaVision. And her British actress Zoe Ashton is in for an unyet named villain role. Candyman's Nia DaCosta directs, and you know what? I'm a little bit more excited about this than I was Quantumania, to be fair. Even though I've not seen a trailer yet, I just like the basic body swap idea. I think it could be quite fun, and it's going to be nice to hopefully see not everyone go after Brie Larson like they did with the first film, because it was a perfectly good film.
Yeah.
David, I am giving this a 7 out of 10.
You know what? The same issue with all the rest of the Marvel stuff that I'm at with it. Did I finish the Marvels? I did finish the Marvels. I just completely forgot I did.
You haven't seen the Marvels because that's the film we're talking about.
No, you know what I'm on about. Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel.
Yes, I did watch that. I did finish
all of it.
You know what? It was fine. That's about it. I weren't its biggest fan, so like a 4.
That's 4. Wow.
And that's not because I hate women. You can't throw that in.
I mean, that's what the internet's going to say.
Yeah.
David gave a Brie Larson film a 4 out of 10
You know what? I
rating
can't.
before
I'm
he'd
going to
even
go
seen it.
6 just to shut people up. You know what, Neil? I think I'll give it a 6. I did enjoy Miss Marvel slightly more, but like the same issues with all of the other, the same as with all of the other Marvel films.
Yeah, you and your
Just
issues.
Lack of interest
Okay.
in them all of them.
Well, a film that will not have a lack of interest, and I'm predicting to be one of the biggest films of next year, David, is Christopher McQuarrie's Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Starring, big breath, Tom Cruise, Hayley Atwell, Simon Pegg, Rebecca Ferguson, Vanessa Kirby, Ving Rhames, and do you know what? In his first appearance since the first film back in 1996. Yes, David, that's when the first Mission Impossible film came out, 1996, directed by Brian De Palma. We have Henry Szczesny as a former director of the IMF, Eugene Kittredge, who we have not seen since the first film. So, after ruling the box office with Top Gun Maverick last year, Tom Cruise is hoping his penchant for insane stunts will bring the crowd to his much-delayed two-movie rumoured send-off to the Mission Impossible franchise. Now, we've already had our appetite whetted by a teaser trailer and a short behind-the-scenes clip, and kind of like Maverick, he's emphasising the craziness of the stunts in the film. And for me, since Christopher McQuarrie got involved with the Mission Impossible franchise with 2015's Rogue Nation, and then 2018's Fallout, these have been the best action films of the years they've been released in. There's just something about the Cruise-McQuarrie partnership that just works on screen. And indeed, I rate the last two Mission Impossible movies higher than any of Daniel Craig's Bond outputs. Ooh, controversial?
Yes.
Also, it's cast literally some of the best female action talent you can have, with Rebecca Ferguson's sublime MI5, Ilsa Forst, please don't kill her so we can have a spin-off franchise. We also have Vanessa Kirby's arms dealer, the White Widow, returning, and we got new addition to the cast, Hayley Atwell. So you've got Agent Carter and Agent Hunt. Mate, I can't wait for this. This is going to have all the explosions and all the spectacle we expect from a big Tom Cruise action film this year. So I'm going for a 10 out of 10.
Wow. Okay. Wow. You know what? I'd love to give it that high, but because I think I said before, the Mission Impossible films are one of those that I've just sort of
never watched
missed.
any of.
Yeah. Well, I've watched. Actually, have I even seen the first one? You know, I might have watched the first one when my dad was, watching it in the background or something. It was just on in the household. But yeah, I've it's not been that franchise I've been looking forward to. But a lot of people like yourself do think that it's
become
better
that
action
franchise
than the Bond. Like Jason Bourne did before Bourne.
Yeah.
After the first 3 Bourne films before that got franchised and really shit. They were standout, weren't they?
What I would say, man, when this comes out, and because you love Top Gun Maverick, right? It was one of your films of the year.
Yeah.
So you love Tom Cruise, and you love Tom Cruise doing crazy stunts and action.
Yeah.
Therefore, if you've got that, but with a better script, arguably, then I think you're good. What I would recommend, start with Mission Impossible Rogue Nation 2015, because what the last 2 films have done is kind of bring in the same side characters and expand it out from the original team, and it's kind of an ongoing narrative. So, like the villain in Rogue Nation turns up in Fallout. Characters who's in Fallout all the characters from that are going to turn up in the next 2 films. So and there's recaps, man. You don't have to worry about having seen all the other ones. So I would just start with the last 2, and then you'll be like, okay, yeah, I'm there. I'm here for it. Right. So what's your rating out of 10, David? Bearing in mind you've not seen any of them, maybe.
Yeah,
perhaps half
like
of one.
5, I suppose,
5.
because I feel like it would be a good film, and I'd insult a lot of people if I gave it lower.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. You
Okay.
insult a lot of people regularly. And we're into September. And David, guess what wins?
In what? What's the context here?
The next goal. Next goal wins. It's the next one I'm talking about.
Fucking
It was a setup,
Taika
and
Waititi. I messed it.
Yeah.
I messed it up.
It's Taika Waititi's next film, starring Michael Fassbender, Oscar Knightley, David Fane, Will Arnett, and Elizabeth Moss. And after the critical disappointment and, fan disappointment of Love and Thunder, I think he's going to be back on form for this, because this is a non-franchise offering. And it's funny, like we said with Taika, he does his big budget film, then he does his little small films. And usually his little small films are better. I'm looking Hunt for the Wilder People, and then he did Ragnarok. After that, he did Jojo Rabbit, which won him an Oscar. After that, he then did Love and Thunder, which, it's fine. But you hate it.
Nah,
Yeah.
man. Nah.
So this is his next one, and it's a dramatic retelling of the 2014 documentary of the same name about the absolutely terrible American Samoan football team who in 2001 suffered the worst defeat in international football history as they lost 31-0 to Australia and had not won a game since. Then they appoint crazy Dutch-American coach Thomas Rongen to help them qualify for the 2014 World Cup. Now, of note, this film was almost completed before COVID shut down the world for 2 years, and in that time, one of the smaller parts of the film had to be recast and refilmed because it was played by Arnie Hammer. We don't mention Arnie Hammer.
We don't talk about Arnie.
Cannibal.
No.
Anyway, he's been completely replaced by Will Arnett from Arrested Development because, you know, he went a bit cannibal-y in his text. Look, I love Takka's films, and this seems very on brand for me in between massive franchise films. And it's about football, so I think even you're going to like this one, David. I am very much excited to see this, and I am going to give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay, cool. I'll give it a 7, because I feel you've
like
sold
football?
it to me. You've sold it to me a lot. I do like football, and I do agree with you that Taika Waititi he's quite hit and miss at the moment. But when he's hit, he's brilliant. The issue is coming off of Ragnarok. I feel like he's got a little bit of he's got to rebuild. Or not? No, I suppose he hasn't got to rebuild his reputation. That's not.
Bearing in mind, we don't even know what he's working on at the minute because this film was pretty much finished.
It's not looking good but yeah. I mean, he's probably
it's not looking good for Taika Waititi.
Yeah,
yeah, who's married to Rita Ora, who's got every franchise calling at him at the minute.
He doesn't have much going for him, does he?
Poor guy, and he's not that good looking. No, shame,
bastard.
And David, we move into October, the month of horror. And at the minute, there's only one horror film really scheduled. And they are doing a new Exorcist film.
Are they now?
But, David, it's directed by David.
Good for me.
Not you. It's not you, no. David Gordon Green. Starring Ellen Burstyn from the original film, who played Reagan's mother, Leslie Odom Jr. and Ann Dowd. Now, you're thinking, why does David Gordon Green...
why is Leslie Odom Jr.? No, I love Leslie Odom Jr. He's from Hamilton.
Exactly.
He's also in Glass Onion.
Yep, so I'm guessing he's like the male lead in the film as well. But you're thinking, why does the name David Gordon Green ring a bell with me? Aren't you?
Why not? Yes, I am now.
Okay.
Now you've
pointed
now it out to me.
Well, because David Gordon Green is the director of the last brand new Halloween trilogy. And so this year, once again in Halloween, he's going back to wreck another 70s classic horror film and turn it, once again, into another new trilogy. And he's doing exactly the same as what he did with Halloween, man. Ignore all the other Exorcist sequels and prequels and spin-offs. And they've all been shit, let's be honest. Although Exorcist 3 was quite good, actually.
I don't think I've actually seen any Exorcist aside from the first
The original.
one. Yeah. Did I ever share with you, Neil, that I was blessed by?
Yes, you did it. You told us on the pod.
Okay, I have told you this. Okay, it's an old story.
You haven't just told me.
Never mind.
You have Linda Blair blessed you, and then you asked her a question, and you phrased it badly, and she got confused, and it got weird.
Yeah, she thought I was an idiot.
I mean, she met you, so
she thought. I mean, it's not. I mean, to be fair to her, she probably got it nail on the head there.
But here's a question, though, David. Will they actually bring her back in this? Because the idea for this new Exorcist film that he's doing is going to follow on directly from the end of the original film.
What, as in back in time, or?
Well, they didn't do that with Halloween. They just jumped forward 40 years, didn't they?
Yes.
I think this is just a bad idea from the get-go. And after his work on a Halloween trilogy, I wouldn't let Green anywhere near an Exorcist project. So for me, this gets a thumbs firmly down. It gets a crucifix up the Jaxie, and I'm giving it a 2 out of 10.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I've got. It's just going to be bad.
2 out of 10. That's just.
Yeah.
That's insulting to everyone involved.
Well, that's why. Look, Ellen Burstyn gets a 1 because she's from the original. Leslie Odom Jr. gets a 1, and that's how I get a 2 out of 10, David.
You know what? For Aaron Burr, 5 out of 10.
5. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's his song, isn't it? That's one of his songs.
It's not one of his songs.
I don't know. Anyway, the next film we're going to talk about in October is directed by J.C. Chandor, starring Aaron Taylor Johnson, and that film is, David, Kraven the Hunter.
Bam.
And this is another Sony Marvel adjacent film. So, hey, they've all been really good so far, except Spider-Verse, which is, brilliant. But yeah, this is going to star Aaron Taylor-Johnson, in great demand after his Bullet Train turn, and actually the favourite at the minute to be the new Bond. And there's quite a big change to the character. Do you know much? Yeah, he's favourite to be the new Bond after Bullet Train.
Okay.
I mean, you can see it working, right?
I haven't seen Bullet Train.
Watch it. It's good, but not great. It's perfectly fine and fun as you're watching it. It's a solid 3-star
I was
film.
just surprised by that.
Okay, well, there you go. Get over it.
Okay.
And do you know anything about the Spider-Man comic storyline with Kraven the Hunter?
I played it in the video game.
So he's like the guy who's the big game hunter who wants to kill Spider-Man.
That was one of my favourite side quests in like the video game from one of the very early Spider-Man films where you swing in on thin air.
Okay, so they're going to completely change that because if he's the main character, he can't be the bad guy. So originally he was a big game hunter who wanted to hunt Spider-Man. This Kraven, Taylor-Johnson has said, is more of a conservationist and protector of the natural world and animal lover. Yeah. The film, however, also stars Ariana DeBose as Calypso, his love interest, and Fred Herklinger as Chameleon, his half-brother. Christopher Abbott and Alessandro Nivola have also been cast as the villains, as well as a Russell Crowe cameo, though he's probably not playing Zeus in this one. So don't get too excited, MCU fans. I'm mid-level excited on this because I didn't really know anything about the character. But Taylor-Johnson is usually very good in everything he's in. However, the Sony-led Marvel films have been largely terrible. Yes, we're looking at you, Morbius and Venom. So that tempers my expectations slightly. So at best, I'm giving this a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, has Aaron Taylor-Johnson been good in everything he's done?
Kick ass. The thing with Aaron Taylor-Johnson, right, you don't realise he's in stuff because he's one of these actors who looks completely different everything he's in. I guarantee you've seen him in loads of stuff and you thought, oh, I didn't realise that was him.
I was just thinking the King's Man he's in, isn't he? Outlaw King, The Avengers, Godzilla.
And what is your rating, David?
Oh, well, I to be honest, I'd never even heard of it before you told it to me. So, I don't know, like a 4.
A 4. Continuing
you didn't sell it.
I didn't sell it. Well,
I'm not really that. Time.
I'm not really sold on it, to be fair.
Okay.
So, taking us into November, we have another film that shouldn't really exist for no other reason than a pointless cash grab, and that is The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. However, it is directed by original director Francis Lawrence, who obviously did the brilliant Constantine. And it's going to be starring Tom Blythe, Rachel Zegler, Jason Schwartzman, Peter Dinklage, and Viola Davis. And then I'm just like, well, that's actually a really good cast.
And Viola Davis. Oh yeah, there's a girl. There's a good cast.
And Rachel Zegler's the female lead, and she's obviously everywhere after West Side Story. But it does sound like a bit of a cash grab in terms of book and movie for me. I mean, why a prequel movie about the earlier days of the villain as President Snow? Let me guess, he starts as a good guy and then a tragic event turns him evil. Been there, seen that. But like I say, it's got Francis Lawrence back and a really surprisingly good cast. So I don't like the idea, but I like the cast. So I'm going to underplay on this one and I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. What about you?
Okay, you know what? I only recently went through and watched all of the Hunger Games films.
It's a slightly underrated franchise, I think, man.
Because I'd always watched the first one, and then for some reason, there's something about the first one that just didn't take with me. I think it's
Peter.
It's how the no, I quite like Peter.
He's so rubbish.
I quite like Peter. It was more.
He gets injured and spends the whole film hiding.
Yeah, do tactics. Got to do. We got to do to survive. Don't mess with Peter.
No, I think Catching Fire Part 1's amazing. What's the second one? I forget the name of the second one. The second one was really good because he kind of felt like a modern-day Running Man. Mockingay's the last one, isn't it?
I don't know.
We don't know our stuff, clearly. So what are you going to give this?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 7.
7 out of 10.
Solid 7. A 7 sort of like, would I go to the cinema to see it? Probably not. But would I watch it when it comes out on streaming, bang on when it does? Probably.
So what you're saying is you have a medium appetite for the Hunger Games prequel.
I'm not going to give that any kind of recognition.
And for Christmas this year, David, in December, we are going to The Lost Kingdom with Aquaman. You sound excited.
I was confused about Aquaman, actually. So he's gotten rid of every single other person, but Jason Momoa is keeping his job, I think.
Yeah, but not potentially as Aquaman. As a different character.
Or is that how's that going to work? Is it all just going to? Because he mentioned the Flash is just what resets it. Basically, it's just a complete fresh reset. Have the Flash do that.
So
which is
I'm
cool
expecting
because it's going to get people to go and see the Flash, which probably not a lot of people would have potentially without that.
what I think happens is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, because I mean it's James Wan, man, and he's a brilliant director. You know, he makes some amazing films, and I really enjoyed the first Aquaman film. It's cheesy, it's stupid, it's way too long, but visually it was cool, man. I loved it. It was fun. You know, it felt like an old school superhero movie, to be fair. And like you say, like Momoa, he's got charisma, man. Now, obviously, Momoa's coming back, as is Patrick Wilson. Amber Heard. Well, we don't really know what's going on there, do we? And with the destruction of the old TCU, what even is the point of this movie now, though?
This happens after the Flash.
Does it? I don't know any.
Or it releases after the Flash.
Yeah, so it's probably going to be set after the Flash.
Which resets the DCU.
So, do you reckon, obviously, they're going to like have some kind of Flashpoint thing happen in the credits of Aquaman? Clearly, Gunn is going to have someone go and film some new Flash stuff, set up the new Flash to tack on in the end credits, right? Because that's the only way you salvage this whole situation. So I think this film is going to basically end the Aquaman story, however it's been going so far. But Momoa does look like he's going to get the golden DCU parachute of being Lobo for them. I don't know who Lobo is, David, but apparently everyone's very excited and thinks Momoa will make a better Lobo than he would Aquaman. So who am I to argue with the internet?
You know what? I'm going to Google it. Lobo DC. Yeah. It looks like a gothic. You know what? Do you know who's the bloke that is in Noel Fielding? You know Noel Fielding. He looks like a jacked Noel Fielding. With a beard. He's got a bit of a mustache, like a handlebar mustache. But yeah. That's what I'm going with it. Or like a Russell Brand, like a jacked Russell Brand. Just that kind of aesthetic to him, you know? That's what I'm seeing here.
And yeah, like I say, I enjoyed the first one. So I'm going to give this a sadly pointless 5 out of 10. Because even if this is a massive hit, it's not going to matter. Because it's not going to fit into Gunn's plans going forward. So 5 out of 10 for me, David. What about you?
Yeah, I'd settle on that. I think that's a good number. 5 out of 10.
This is something you'll probably watch when it comes on streaming, won't you? And go,
yeah, exactly. Like, for instance, I was going to watch, because I still haven't seen the Black Panther film, and that's come out today. So I was going to watch that tonight, but I probably won't have time.
Right. Well, also in December, and I think this could be... It's a bad idea. It's a prequel, David. It's another bad prequel idea that demystifies a classic character by giving us their unasked for backstory. And that film is...
Okay, wait, let me guess. Whoa. Let me guess, okay? Did this classic character come out in, like, the 80s?
No, 70s.
70s. Okay, the 70s.
And there's been a remake
and then
since.
Okay. And is it Big Willie? Big Willie?
No, Will Smith is not in this film.
Big Willie. Big Willie it's about Big Willie. It's about the Big Willie, not Will Smith.
The Big
He's
W.
Not Big Willie anymore. But this is about Big Willie.
It is, in fact, about Big Willie, starring Timothée Chalamet, Keegan-Michael Key, Sally Hawkins, and Olivia Colman. And the Big Willie is Wonka.
You know what? Do you think that's not going to be good? Just by the way you pitched that.
Usually, I would be agreeing with what I said at the start of this review. Usually, I'd be agreeing with what I said at the start of this preview. We don't need a prequel that gives us the backstory to why he was so weird, why Willy Wonka was so weird, and keeps an army of slave midgets.
Okay, I feel like Timothée Chalamet is a sort of actor at the moment that wouldn't take on a script unless he thinks it's a good script. Like, he wouldn't just take a role because, that's going to be iconic. It's an iconic character. It's Willy Wonka.
And you're right. Chalamet is generally brilliant in everything he's in at the moment. And also the director, David.
Same with Olivia Colman.
And the director is British director Paul King. And do you know what Paul King's famous for?
You have told me. His name rings a bell, Neil. Tell me.
Paddington.
Paddington's good.
Exactly. And Paddington 2, a lot of people prefer to the first, and has become a modern classic, ingrained in pop culture. So, if you've got and this is why he's not doing Paddington 3, because he's doing Wonka. So, here's the thing, right? I think this could be brilliant, because he gets that family film, doesn't he? Like, how many people love Paddington? You get that director with this cast. Okay, I don't like the idea on principle, but I trust in the cast and I trust in the director. Apparently, as well, the studio shortlist of actors to play Wonka originally was they wanted Donald Glover to play him, which is about as far away from Timothy Chalamet as you can get. And then Ryan Gosling, which I could totally see Gosling doing this role. And even, and this is where he dodged a bullet, David, Ezra Miller at one point. Although he would be good for the weird stuff. And the film also features every British actor going. Like I say, you got Sally Hawkins jumping over from Paddington, Olivia Colman, and also, not only that, comedy superstars, David, Matt Lucas and Rowan Atkinson are going to be in it.
I think it'll be interesting to see Chalamet doing Wonka because he's quite an eccentric character, and the majority
he's going to
of
sing and dance
roles, and the majority of Chalamet roles are more stoic. Is that the right word? Stony? I don't know. They're more reclusive, aside from like
internal performances.
Yes, there you go. They're more like that. Aside
less
from,
shouty and showy.
Like he was a bit out there in the space one. I've forgotten its name now.
The space one. Do you mean June?
Wait, no, not June. Fucking hell.
Oh, okay.
No.
I mean, if you say Timothy Chalamet and space films, most people say June.
You know what? That's true. No, the End of the World film that came out on Netflix. Don't look up. Don't look up.
Don't bother looking up.
Yeah, he was quite an eccentric character in that, I suppose.
He was barely in that film. He was an extended cameo. They probably said, look, you get to turn up on screen and be Jennifer Lawrence's boyfriend for like a day and a half. Okay, yeah, cool. Sounds good job. I'll take it.
Wouldn't you?
Well, exactly. That's why, clearly that's why he did the job. And he'll be to cast aspersions.
His costumes in it, like the images that we've seen of Wonka, he does look like a young... oh my God, I've forgotten his name. Yes, Hackman?
No, it's not Gene Hackman.
What? No, Neil, I'm struggling. This is the end.
This is the bit where David's brain broke.
Wilder, fucking hell.
Gene Wilder.
Oh.
God. If you ever need to know how long it takes someone to Google, then there you are. There it is, folks. Right there. Gene Wilder.
Who's Gene Hackman?
Who's Gene Hackman? Oh, my God. No. French Connection.
Yes, that's where. Yes, okay.
A million other classic films of the 70s.
No, that's why I was confused because my brain went to different places. Okay, it was weird.
They are so not even close to being.
I don't have an excuse. It just happened.
That's what she said.
Let's move past it.
She also said that. Right, so I am giving this a 8 out of 10 because I am more excited by the creatives in the cast than the idea.
Yeah, I give it an 8. An 8 is on the precipice of actually going to see
getting you out to the cinema. Yeah.
To get me out of the house and seeing it.
Well, David, I do know one film that will get you out of the house in December, and it's another film starring Timothy Chalamet.
Dune.
Part 2. And on the last episode, when we was talking about Florence Pugh, you had no idea she was in this.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't realise.
Playing the princess.
Faye
Christopher Walken.
Yeah, so Faye Rufer and
Austin Butler
were cast. Yeah.
Yeah.
That completely blindsided me. I'm surprised you didn't say anything, actually, when that was mentioned or came out. Maybe
I'm surprised
everywhere
you didn't remember saying this exact thing on the last podcast.
I did. I'm just reinforcing it.
I mean, David, do you ever have deja vu?
Only every day.
And if you weren't blown away by June Part 1, then please get in the sea. Get in the sand sea. Because Part 2 finally comes to us this December.
Huh?
Get in the dunes, get in the sand dunes. I actually climbed up a sand dune in Dubai and then thought, that looks fun, and threw myself down it.
That was probably a bad
while people
idea.
filmed me doing it. Do you know how hard it is to climb up a sand dune with sand?
I can imagine it's quite painful to fall down one as well.
No, it was light and fluffy sand. It did not hurt at all. It did not hurt. But I set up my camera because I was literally working that day and said, guys, push record. I'm going to throw myself down. And I rolled down it backwards. And it was very cool. I've got the clip somewhere. I'll stick it online someday if you want to see me fall down a sand dune backwards in Dubai. And as Anakin said in Attack of the Clones, I hate sand. It gets everywhere. And it got everywhere, David. And then I had to film for the rest of the day with sand everywhere. It was not a pleasant experience. But what is a pleasant experience, we'll be going to see June Part 2. As well as Austin Butler, Florence Pugh, and Christopher Walken, you have got Lea Seydoux as well from Bond, No Time to Die. So she's going to be in as well. And I think we can argue that June was a surprise package for some, because it's quite a deep, cerebral sci-fi. Some would say slow, but it was a hit with the audiences, and it was a big enough success coming out of COVID that it was a big enough success to get the second part made. Because we remember at the time when we saw part 1 and we was like, but we don't know if part 2 is going to happen. That's such a ending, but to
Can
leave
you
it on.
imagine if it didn't? What a shit world that would have. You know what?
I don't want to live in that world,
I was in a
David.
dark
I
place
don't
at
want to
the
live in
time.
it.
That could have been the end.
It's called a cinema.
Wow.
That's why it was dark. These I am 3 for 3 today on bad jokes. Yeah, imagine if we'd never got part 2 because of post-COVID audience rates. Yeah, it would have been a dark place indeed, David. So, obviously, this gets a 10 out of 10. Can't wait. And I'll be there opening night in IMAX for hopefully a double screening of June Part 1 and Part 2 back-to-back on the opening night. Come on, Warner Brothers, you know you want to do it. And David, for you, obviously, right? Has to be a
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, of course. Coming up also in December, but I have a feeling this one might slip from the release date that's been penciled in, is a film directed by Gil Keenan, David. No, it is currently titled, untitled, Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel. And it's going to be directed by Gil Keenan, who I think he co-wrote the last film with Jason Reitman.
I have it as Jason Reitman directing it.
Yeah, he's not anymore.
Okay.
But it's Gil Keenan, yeah, because you've Googled the same thing I did, and then I checked, and I was like, oh, he's not doing it. So this is a sequel, a direct sequel to 2021 sequel that ignored Paul Feig's 2016 sequel, and was a direct sequel to 1989's Ghostbusters 2, rounding out the story of the Spengler family, as we met Egon's daughter and granddaughter, played by the amazing McKenna Grace, stealing the show as Egon in small, geeky girl form, Phoebe. And yeah, it was pure fan service, but damn it if I didn't have a tear in my eye at the emotional ending of that film. And I've seen fans complain that, well, it wasn't a comedy though. No, it was a small family drama with ghosts.
I watched this for the first time only like 3 days ago, yeah.
And what did you think?
It was fine. It was, to be honest, I was pretty disappointed by it. I felt like it just didn't need to be retouched. Just leave it as it is. Why? It's another one of those where
it was The Force Awakens.
Franchising a franchise because money, and it kind of frustrates me. There was nothing new about it. What was new about it?
Well, I mean, I think they changed it from a action comedy to a family drama. Look, yeah,
There's still comedic moments in it.
But it wasn't like if you watch
it wasn't on the first Ghostbusters. Isn't really action, is it? And the family element of the first Ghostbusters is the three friends.
You're forgetting Winston, man.
The four friends.
Everyone forgets Winston, man. Terrible. I fully understand why some people don't like Ghostbusters Afterlife.
It made no sense why Egon was such a prick.
Because he was trying to stop. He was so clever. He could see this thing was going to happen.
Yeah. So when he's telling Dan Aykroyd's character, Ray?
Please, God. Yes, Ray. Ray Stantz.
Yes. So I fucking got it right.
Mate, it's my second favourite film.
All right, well, it ain't mine. So
no, not this one.
He's telling,
the original.
when Ray is saying, like, yeah, he was telling me about this, going on about the end of the world and some shit, and he went crazy. And like, well, hang on a second. You've just spent your entire fucking life busting ghosts. When someone, your best mate, is telling you that the world's about to end, you'd think you'd fucking listen.
Yeah.
It didn't make any real sense as to why he was just like, he was talking crazy talk.
They could have done with a bit more. They could have done with a bit more exposition on that. I agree, but look, for me, it's the whole stuff with Egon and spoiler warning.
This is your spoiler alert.
I don't know. It's a lovely send off to the character and the actor. Because obviously he died a couple of years back, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then what sadly improves this more is that Jason Reitman, his dad Ivan Reitman, the original Ghostbusters director, he died shortly after this came out as well. Man, when they were all back there at the end, yes, it's derivative. Yes, it's the first film again. Yes, the kid from Stranger Things he was terrible and he didn't need to be in it at all, did he? What did his character do? He drove the car. Great.
Yeah, but what did his character need to do something?
Other than simply exist? Well, yes. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's Phoebe's film, man. She's brilliant. You got to admit, her and Podcast were excellent. And any film that has a character called Podcast in it gets an extra point from me. But what they're doing is, this new one, the post-credit sting indicates we're going to be returning to New York with Ernie Hudson's now super rich Winston Zeddemore bankrolling a new Ghostbusters. And, you see XO1 going into the original station from the first film. I'm just really looking forward to it. Carrie Coon and Paul Rudd are confirmed to coming back, and I assume we're going to get the rest of the casting soon. I think now they've done the touching send-off to Harold Ramis, we can make the next film a comedy again. And with McKenna's Grace Phoebe as our new main Ghostbuster. That's what I loved about this film. So many people slagged it off and said, "Oh, it's just wish fulfillment," and "Oh yeah, you don't like women, if you didn't like the 2016 film." I didn't like the 2016 film because it was badly written. But then by the same virtue, I loved Ghostbusters Afterlife. And who's the lead actor in it? Oh, it's a 14-year-old girl Ghostbuster who is arguably the best out of the lot of them, including the original cast.
Neil, you've just started arguing with yourself.
I know.
Like, no one said these voices in your head say this to you.
I'm thinking that fast that I had my count come back before I'd argue with myself. Look, this isn't even being filmed yet, so I am wary that it's going to make its expected December release date. And honestly, why rush a film to go up against Tune 2 and Wonka? Still, I'm very excited to see where they go with this because, hey, it's one of my favourite franchises. So this gets an 8 out of 10.
I'm going to give it a 0 because it's not coming out next year.
Well,
if it's not even got a title, it's not coming out next year.
This year.
This year, sorry, yeah.
It's supposed to be coming out this December.
It's not happening.
Well, David, that is up to December, but there are a couple of more films we need to talk about that do not have release dates. And I would say, bar one of them, they are all kind of big deals. First off, the smaller film, and this is directed by Brandon Cronenberg. Do you have any idea of what film I'm going to talk about, David?
Cronenberg.
Son of David.
Yes.
Not you, not your son. And it's starring one of those tall Scandinavians again, Alexander Skarsgård. And it's also starring Pearl herself, Mia Goth, and Cleopatra Coleman. And the film sounds like a cross between superhero movies because it's called Infinity Pool. No, it is not a Marvel Deadpool crossover event film. This film looks. If you watch the trailer, David,
I have watched the trailer for this.
Okay, what did you think?
Like exactly you said, it's like a mad box of fucking hats.
A mad box of frogs.
Whatever animal you want to go with.
Box of whatever animal I want to put in a bucket.
I'm going to go with chipmunk.
And yeah, the basic story is Skarsgård and Coleman's characters are on a holiday at an exclusive island resort and fall foul of a tragic accident where Skarsgård is accused of murder and the penalty is death, unless you are rich enough to have a clone made of you to die in your place.
Well, aren't they going there for a foursome? I got proper foursome vibes in the trailer. Like proper, like they went there for a sex holiday, like to just have a bit of fun.
And it's a private island. I'm assuming it's probably But anyway, away from you and your sex islands, this is about cloning, and basically, if you have a rich clone, you can have them made to die in your place. And this trailer, man, it looks like young Brandon
is a film with Tom Cruise. That's that exact film. It's called The Island. That's
Ewan McGregor, Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, it is Ewan McGregor. You're right. It is
Ewan McGregor. Michael Bay.
My bad.
One of Michael Bay's better films. Look, this looks like young Brandon has taken on his dad's mantle of disturbing, fucked up body horror. And I'm here for it, David. Apparently, the Sundance cut was so explicit, they might have to cut 1.5 minutes before it comes out on general release over here and other places. So I'm really looking forward to this. I've heard rumours we could be getting it in March, but nothing official yet. So this is definitely good. And also, I'm hoping we get it in the cinema because it's quite a small indie film. But with those actors in it, come on, release it, you bastards. 8 out of 10. Very much looking forward to this. What about you?
It does. When I watched the trailer when that came out a few weeks back, that looked it did look really interesting. I'd give it an 8 as well.
Okay, nice. We agreed. And I think we're going to agree on the next 3 films, David. Next up, for Apple TV at some point this year, because they haven't confirmed it, we have a historical epic. And who do you get to direct historical epics, David? You get Ridley Scott. And you also get Joaquin Phoenix and Vanessa Kirby. And who is Joaquin Phoenix playing?
Jesus.
What historical figure? No, he's not.
Wait, no. Okay, no. He's played Commodus before, so I'm going to go with Commodus.
Why would he play the same role again? No, he's not in Gladiator 2.
Maybe.
Paul Mescal's in Gladiator 2, surprisingly. And Ridley Scott is... I guess that's coming. No, the film we are eventually trying to get to is Napoleon. And surprisingly, there have not been many films about Napoleon
You know what?
made
I
over
don't
the years.
really know anything about probably because he's not in it. There's not many his films that are decent with him
Yeah,
in it.
exactly.
I don't actually know much about him.
When I think Napoleon, right, in film, the only film I immediately jump to is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, when they kidnap him for the history report and bring him back to the modern day. And then he swears in the bowling alley. And it's the first time I learned how to say shit in French, because the subtitle said merd, merd, merd on the screen.
All I know about Napoleon is the Battle of Waterloo and that Lord Wellington lived and died at Walmer Castle, just down the road.
As we mentioned, haven't been many films about Napoleon. But you've got, here's the thing though, Ridley Scott is exactly the director you get to do it. But you know how old Ridley Scott is now?
Very
old. 85. And he's doing Gladiator 2 next. I mean,
Jesus fucking Christ. I've just looked at Ridley Scott's up-and-coming projects. Do you know when, like, on IMDb, you look at
he
people's
is
up-and-coming
not going to
projects,
finish all of those.
and it's like, they've got like 3 things coming up. Ridley Scott's got 78 up-and-coming projects. 78!
Hopefully Ridley Scott will just peacefully pass away in his director's chair one day. Because that's the way to go.
I mean, he's producing most of them, but holy shit. 78. Well, all of them, basically.
The man is not retiring, is he? He's not taking it easy in his retirement, because he's not retired. 85 and he's still got Gladiator 2 to come. I mean, fair play, man. That's how you want to go, sat in your director's chair. And they're like, Ridley, next setup. Oh no, he's gone. Well, do you know what? He was 103 and still directing films. Yeah, he's one of the masters, man. I mean, this could tick all the boxes next year for the Oscars, couldn't it? Apple like having a good tilt at the Oscars after Coda. You know Phoenix is going to be brilliant as Napoleon. And Vanessa Kirby stepped in last minute because Jodie Comer was supposed to play his wife, and now Vanessa Kirby's doing it. And honestly, I think with this coming out, a lot of people missed Scott's last film, which was the brilliant Last Duel. And you know what? Historical epics is what Sir Ridley does best. And obviously space horror. So really looking forward to this. I'm going a 9 out of 10.
I'm going to give it a 5, simply because I wasn't aware it was happening.
So one of your favourite actors in Phoenix. You like Phoenix, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's one of my favourite actors, but he is one of those actors that's just immense in everything.
Well, from one master filmmaker to another. And this film, David, is a Netflix film that's going to drop at some point this year. And it stars Michael Fassbender and Tilda Swinton. And it's called The Killer. And guess who it's directed by?
The Killer. Wait, let me Google.
Well, that will just tell you. You're not guessing,
It
are you?
was. I didn't Google it, but tell me.
It's David Fincher. Fincher's doing a new film for Netflix, and it's based on a French graphic novel of the same name. And it's a first-time reunion with his screenwriter from Seven, Andrew Kevin Walker, for this tale of an unnamed assassin. And that's literally all I know, because everything else is in French. But hey, it's new Fincher, it's called The Killer, it's got a Fassbender, he's an assassin. It's a must-watch, right?
An assassin begins to psychologically crack as he develops a conscience, even as his clients continue to demand his skills.
So it sounds like Bullet Train, but not funny. Because Bullet Train's essentially Brad Pitt as like an assassin who doesn't really want to be an assassin anymore. But obviously it's Fincher. So yeah, any new Fincher film's like an event, man. So 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. I'm going to give it 5 again.
Because you only just discovered this was a thing?
It did ring a bell afterwards. But, yeah.
Well, we've been talking about master directors, David, and there's only really one person we can finish off the pod with. And this much, much delayed film, I believe, was featured on your most anticipated list films of last year. And that film is, David,
Killers of the Flower
Moon. Yep. Directed by Martin Scorsese, starring Jesse Plemons, Robert De Niro, and Leonardo DiCaprio, with essentially Plemons getting DiCaprio's role because he had shoots overrun on other projects. So Plemons has now got the role that DiCaprio was originally supposed to play. It's Scorsese's first Western set in 1920s Oklahoma, with a Texas Ranger investigating a series of murders within the Osage tribe. And indeed, Plemons, as we mentioned, was bumped to lead when DiCaprio couldn't make filming due to timing issues. Any new Scorsese is a cause for celebration at this point in this man's career. And Plemons has been a fantastic character actor for years in whatever he's been. He was amazing in season 2 of Fargo. He was brilliant in The Power of the Dog. And just Game Night. He was so good in Game Night as a creepy cop next door. And at Breaking Bad. So, let's hope that finally he gets that big hit as well. I'd love to see a Jesse Plemons award. Give him an Oscar now. I'm saying it. Give him an Oscar. Haven't seen the film. Haven't seen the trailer, haven't seen any images from it, but it's Jesse Clemens in a lead from Scorsese. So you know it's going to be good.
Yeah, a serial killer going around 1910s, 20s, 30s. I have the Wikipedia page right here in front of me. That's why the condescending voice
I just thought that was your regular voice.
was added to it's good. I'm liking it. You know, I'm still up there for 9.
Yeah, I'm a 9 out of 10 for this as well, man. Okay, David. So we have now completed our rundown of, I think it was about 37 films. So these are the films we think you should see and avoid this year. But at the end of the pod, David, we are now doing our top 10s. So we're not going to talk about them. We're not going to justify them. We're just going to go number to number. And then probably shock silence when you put something like Rescue Rangers 2 at number 1.
I don't think there is. Oh my god, is there a Rescue Rangers 2 coming out?
And 5 minutes while David Googles, is there a Rescue Rangers 2 coming out? No, don't search for that, Siri. Oh, good God. And we are here at the end of the podcast. And we are going to do our top 10 most anticipated films of the year. So, David, what do you have at number 10?
Well, Neil, I have at number 12, Oppenheimer. And then at number 11, Wonka. And then at number 10, just because I couldn't feed them 2 in, but I was both looking forward to them as well. Anyway, and then at number 10, we have Knock at the Cabin. You know what? When I was doing this list, I thought, I've completely forgotten the numbers I gave every single one of these.
I was expecting that.
But anyway, at number 10, there's the M. Night Shyamalan's mystery, apocalyptic, short, like, small cast film, Knock at the Cabin.
Which had its premiere, UK premiere, I think, or American premiere last day. And Twitter is, once again, split on it. Some are calling it absolutely terrible and bad, and others are saying it's his best film in years.
Okay, so that's not great.
Well, it is. I have a feeling there's a bit of an agenda with M. Night. I just think some people don't like him, and they've kind of half-written their articles slagging off the film before they've even seen it.
Like, Old wasn't that bad. I quite liked it.
It was. It was terrible.
I didn't mind it. What was wrong with it?
It was terrible. I mean,
what was wrong? Give me specifics.
I can't remember. It didn't make that much of an impression. There is that much film and TV information in my brain, David. I do not have time to remember bad films in explicit detail.
But you know Clerks 3.
You take that back.
It's out there.
Back. You've never even watched a Clerks film.
It's out there. I said it.
My number 10 is a film about Cocaine Bear.
Your Cocaine Bear's that low for you.
There's a lot of good films on this list.
Cocaine Bear's higher on my list.
Really? And I'm the champion of Cocaine Bear.
I say it's higher. It's higher by 1.
Oh. Spoilers.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, as we're talking, here's the irony, David. Higher by 1 on my list is Knock at the Cabin.
Oh, there we go. Switching them around. Switcheroos.
So yeah, basically with Cocaine Bear, it just looks so much fun. Are you going to venture out of your pit of sloth to go and see Cocaine Bear in the cinema?
Yeah. Take some blow while we're doing it.
I mean, I feel that probably not the best way to watch a film in the cinema. Although you'd be jumping up too much. You'd be jumping up and down too much, and they'd be like, "Hey, sit down." And be like, "No, I'm on cocaine."
You'll be the only one that doesn't. I feel like it's one of those that's made for it. You know, if there's ever a film,
just hand it out to everyone as they go in.
Film.
Would you like some cocaine on your popcorn?
I don't know. What's another film that's got a lot of cocaine in it?
Babylon.
Has it? Okay.
Mate, they sniffed the mountain in the Paramount logo at the start of the trailer.
Oh.
That film had a lot of cocaine. Yep, so Cocaine Bear, I just can't wait to see this, man. Like, from the second I heard of the idea, I was intrigued. And then that first trailer just sold me. There's so many iconic lines just from that trailer. You know, that's the kind of thing that's going to stay with the man for a while.
Yes. You almost had it right there. That was almost as good as the delivery from the child.
You don't like child actors. Don't shit on kids, David.
I know. I do like child actors. I just don't like bad ones.
You're like the guy who voted for that young girl to get the Razzie, aren't you? And everyone was like, you can't vote for a small child to get the Razzie. And they was like, we can. We're assholes. As we've gone off pieced as usual. At number 10, David, you have Knock at the Cabin. At number 10, I have Cocaine Bear. Your number 9 is Cocaine Bear. And my number 9 is Knock at the Cabin. So, David, pray tell, what is your number 8 film of the year?
My number 8 is the live adaptation of...
Little Mermaid?
Yeah, The Little Mermaid.
Under the sea. Under the sea. I don't know the song.
And down here it's better, down where it's wetter. Take it from me, under the sea.
Until you said sea, I thought he was talking about a toilet where someone had just not cleaned up properly afterwards.
I want gadgets and gizmos of plenty.
Now you just sound like you're working in a sex toy shop.
20, but who cares? No big deal.
David, the lyrics you have sung, it's better where it's wetter, and I want gadgets and gizmos. I'm just saying, this just sounds like a porn film. These are not child-friendly
But
lyrics.
they were two different songs.
But from the same film.
From the same film, correct. Well, I don't know if Under the Sea is going to be in it. It probably will be.
Isn't that like the most iconic song from the film?
Probably. I don't know, that or the one I was just singing, which title was now lost with me.
Well, for my number 8, David, we're going from Under the Sea to a Barbie world. Yes.
I'm a Barbie girl again. Surprised
No,
it's so low on yours.
Dude, how can you be surprised? There's so many good films above it. Like, every film above it is better than the previous one. Yes, it's going to be a brilliant film. I can't wait to see what Greta Gerwig does. After that trailer where we just spoofed 2001 and you got confused and thought the whole film was going to be Barbie spoofing 2001. And but it's going to be awesome, man. I can't wait to see it. So your number 7 is...
Killers of the Flower Moon, if it comes out.
If it comes out this year.
If it comes out, then it's Killers of the Flower Moon. If not, then just shift everything and have Oppenheimer there.
So my number 7 is a film that comes out on the same day as Barbie that I'll be seeing before Barbie. Oppenheimer. Yeah. Now, I admittedly, the trailer has annoyed the piss out of me, but look at that cast. And it's Nolan. And Nolan doing biopics means it's not going to be as timey-wimey, hopefully. Knowing him, he's timey-wimey. It's an official catchphrase. I just hope he doesn't decide to go, right, but I'm telling the story of Oppenheimer, and although it's an historical epic, we're going to see what's happening in 4 different time frames at the same time. Because you'll probably do something like that.
My number 6 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Interesting.
Yeah, man. That's the only superhero film I've got in there.
And animated?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, well, David, for my number 6, be afraid. Be very afraid. Oh, actually, no. Bo is afraid. Bo is afraid is my number 6 film of the year.
Bayou?
It's Bo. Good God, it's Bo. Like, just please Google someone saying the name of the film.
No.
And then you're gonna die on this hill, aren't you?
Yep.
I am afraid for David because he's clearly having some kind of brain episode.
Yeah, but to be fair to me, if I was reading this in a fantasy book throughout the entire book, it would be Bayou.
It's not a fantasy book, though,
yeah,
is it?
I know, but if I'm saying, like, if I see a name I don't recognise,
context
I will
is
just
king,
pronounce
my friend.
it and say it however I feel like it should be pronounced.
Context.
And that's how I think it should be pronounced. To be fair, now that I do know how it should be pronounced, I should be saying Bo. But I'm doing it just for fun.
Who's fun? Not mine.
Me, I find it funny.
I find you fun. No, I don't. Actually, damn.
You don't come to my stag do. Get out of here.
But you don't even know where it is.
I don't know.
Yeah. Got your passport. It's all good. What is your number 5 film then, David?
Number 5, Barbie.
Okay.
Barbie's my number 5. Just because I don't know. There's something about it that's just whimsical. It looks like it's going to be a feel-good film.
It's going to be a cult classic.
And yeah, I do think it will be. I can also imagine the huge feminist backlash that might come.
No, I don't think there is going to be one.
Well, it depends on how they do it.
That's why you've got Greta Gerwig directing it. Can you imagine if Michael Bay was directing it?
Explosions.
Exactly. Clearly, it's going to be a feminist film, man. It has to be. You can't get Greta Gerwig to direct something and it not have strong female characters in it and be, it's going to be.
No. Excellent point you're making, but there'll still be others out there because Barbie's obviously it's a massive issue for a lot of people, feminists.
Why would you take the film?
I mean, you have cast the best looking actress, one of the best looking actresses out there,
and arguably one of the best looking men as well, actors,
and arguably one of the best looking men
in Mr. Gosling.
Mm-hmm.
My number 5, take me down to the Asteroid City, where there's lots of cast members in the Wes Anderson film. Yep, it's Asteroid City.
Oh, I completely forgot about Asteroid City. You know what? It's done. The list.
It wouldn't have made it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have made that high on your list. This is kind of like Beau is Afraid when it was called Disappointment Boulevard when it was your number 1 last year. I know nothing about Asteroid City bar the cast and the most basic outline that it's set around a young stargazers convention. That's it. But the cast is insane. Remember, I had to take 2 deep breaths before I read him out, and then you interrupted me before I got to mention that Jarvis Cocker from Pulp is in it. But also Margot Robbie as well. Also Tom Hanks. And just everyone else who's been in every other one of his films.
There's no need to say every other person.
Maybe Bill Murray's in it as well, because we don't know. But yeah, it's Wes Anderson, man, and I just love the idea of it. So yeah, Wes Anderson. David, what is your number 4?
Fun Dungeons and Dragons. The Dungeons and Dragons film. Because you know me, I'm not a big fan of Dungeons and Dragons. I play it. So I enjoy to play the game. Got a campaign or two in me. Bardock, the half-orc barbarian is my man. He likes to throw babies as distractions. That happened in our last one of our last ones, yeah.
What do you have to roll to get him to throw babies?
Throwing the baby, you ain't got to roll anything. But I suppose if the distraction works, then that's a roll, and I suppose that'll be, the DM to decide. But I did it; it worked. Baby throwing distraction works.
Bardock threw the baby.
Yeah, distracted the people, and then got an opportunity attack on them.
So basically, I'm quite looking forward to this as well. Although it did not make my list, David.
Oh man.
But I'm going to go and see it opening weekend. I think it looks a lot of fun. I like the idea of doing a heist movie around Dungeons and Dragons as a way of getting into the story and the characters in the world. So I think it's quite a clever idea. But David, my number 4 movie also is a D of a D.
A D of a D?
Also, D&D, yeah.
Wait. Don't tell me. D&D, not B&B, so it's not Blue Beetle.
No, not Blue... What? No.
Dial of Destiny.
Yeah!
Oh,
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. What a segue from D&D to a Dial of a D. Or as the kids are going to call it, Indie J and the D of D. When, because kids shorten everything when it comes out.
Let's
you don't need to, but they're going to. I hate it already. I suggested it and I already hate it. I mean, yeah, we mentioned this on the previous episode when we went through the preview. The music, man. It's John Williams. It's John Williams music. It got me in. I was like, the de-aging's good. It's Harrison Ford. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. You got loads of punchable Nazis in it. All the Nazis look like they need to be punched.
I 100% agree with you, Neil, because it's my number 3. I know. The nostalgia's going to hit me so hard.
Yeah, because you weren't even born when the first 3 came out.
I know. That's how nostalgic I'll be. I'll go straight back to the womb.
Wow, there's no segue from that, David. There is no segue from you going back to the womb to my number 3 film, which is... Actually, no, there is. Because you being in the womb and watching a film before you were born, well, David, that's just a Mission Impossible. Hey! And my number 3 film is Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, Part 1. And it's not a great name, but I can't wait, man.
Tom Cruise running.
Tom Cruise running, jumping off planes, jumping
what are you
through
running
planes.
Away from, Tom?
Picking up planes. We can't say that legally on the podcast, David. The South Park guys did, but we can't mention it. But that's only because they have a giant, ridiculous 20-year deal with Paramount. And they're G's. And they also wrote the Book of Mormon. But enough about South Park guys, because Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. My only hope, David, is they do not kill Rebecca Ferguson. Because I love her character. I actually know. I just love Rebecca Ferguson.
You love Rebecca Ferguson. You have a massive crush on her. It's okay. A lot of people
Everyone does. But, David, what is your number 2?
Number 2, Beau is Afraid.
Not number 1. It's dropped down since it changed its name, hasn't it?
Yeah, that change in name and a better film that I'm looking forward to more is at number 1. But, yeah, Beau is Afraid. Ari Aster, again, the trailer looked fucking mental. I love the man in the 2 films he's done so far. He can't do anything
I got
wrong.
such weird vibes from it, man. I got Forrest Gump vibes. I got a little bit of Benjamin Button vibes. And I got a bit of Misery vibes from it.
Yeah, I also got some, fucked up Wizard of Oz vibes.
Yeah, I got a bit of Tim Burton Big Fish from that as well, man. So I was like, yeah, this looks just mad. Mad as a box of animals.
And I loved it. So, and I hope it actually is also a bit of a horror.
Well, he said it wasn't, so yeah.
I'm kind of hoping there's a bit of psychological.
I think I think whatever it is, we're going to walk out traumatized.
We'll never be the same again. And that is Aster.
Okay. Oh, well, David, my number 2 is the second part of the film.
No.
June. It's not number 1.
That could not be.
Yeah,
I'm trying to work out what your
two.
number 1 will be. If it's not June. Is it it's not a Marvel film, is it?
June Part 2 is my number 2.
Okay. Well, June Part 2 is my number 1, as it should be, for everybody involved, because it was a spectacle at the cinema.
Right.
It is the reason why cinemas were made, along with, Avatar, the film, there's the reason why you go to the cinema is for an experience like June gives you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's number one for me. And why is it not for you? If your number one's a Marvel film, Neil,
Right.
that's it. We're done.
Ant-Man Quantumania isn't your most...
Is that your number one?
Of course it's not Ant-Man Quantumania.
Oh, thank God. Okay. Is it Guardians of the Galaxy?
Volume 3. Yes, it is, David.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. I was looking at it, right, and I was like, I'm really looking forward to both. I love June, but I feel Guardians is going to be more fun, and I like a bit of fun at this time of year, David. The days are dark. I loved Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I really liked 2, and Gunn gets to finish his franchise, man. How many people get to make their name at Marvel, then get fired by Marvel, go to DC, do awesome stuff at DC, come back to Marvel, finish off the thing, and then go and become DC Uberlord. Or hail our new DC Uberlord. You sound speechless. You're speechless, David.
Yeah, I get it. I get why you want to see it.
It's the end of the trilogy, and it's a very good trilogy.
It's not a number one, bro. Come on, it's not June 2. Come on, it's not June 2. You have to have the same opinion as me.
I don't.
Oh.
We were quite close on a lot of these, actually, to be fair. Arguably, there's not a bad film on either of our lists, I don't think. Not one. They are all master directors and writers and actors.
Well, there's only one way to find out, is that's when they come out.
Yeah.
To see if they're a decent film.
And how many of your top 10 will you actually go to the cinema to see, David?
Probably about 5.
Whereas I will be watching Knock at the Cabin in 2 days' time.
All right, yeah, you go to the cinema more than me. Everybody gets
Mate, in between pods, since we recorded our last one before this one, I have been to the cinema 7 times in 2 weeks.
Stop showing off.
So yeah, I think that about rounds us up, David. That is a hell of a list. I mean, look, you've got new films from Denis Villeneuve, you've got new Mission Impossible, new Indiana Jones, new Wes Anderson, new Ari Aster, new Christopher Nolan, new Greta Gerwig. It's a big year, man. And of course, for me at number 1, new James Gunn. For you at number 1, new Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah.
You're just slightly underwhelmed by Guardians 3 being my number 1.
I am a little bit.
It's going to be so emotional when they kill people in it. So emotional.
Yeah, but will it be?
I don't feel that emotion when I'm watching June. I think that's my reason. It's emotion. And it's the fact that this is the 3rd film in the series that's ending. And you know that it's ending. And you're probably not going to see any of these characters ever again. And I just can't. Yeah.
I don't know about that, mate. If it makes money, they'll find a way.
They've all said they're not coming back.
If it makes money. Dude, you give them a fat fucking check, they'll be coming back.
Well, I do believe that will be the most successful Marvel film of the year. Hands down.
Of
Ant-Man,
the year or all time? Will it be Endgame?
Of course it won't be Endgame.
Okay, well, there you go.
Right, that's all the time we have today on this episode of We Needed Roads. And remember, if you like what you hear, give us a 5-star review on your podcast platform of choice. And we have just reached, David, our 2-year anniversary. Happy anniversary, David.
We're 2.
We are 2.
Already. Mate, we'll be walking about, talking. We're at that really cute age.
Learning to pronounce words.
We're at that really cute age where, you're quite fun before you get into, like, the 3s where you become a bit of a dick.
Is that when you, start pooing on your hand and throwing it at people?
Yeah.
Or am I thinking about monkeys?
We're cute. We're good. We're in that cute phase.
Well, David, one thing we should remind people of, coming up soon, you've got a house, you've got a dog, you've got a relatively new job, haven't you? You've been in your new job now for a couple of months, which you're enjoying.
About 4 months now, yeah.
4 months.
Manager's just left, so we've got
You're probably going to steal their job again and rise up the ranks to become Uber David. But also, most importantly, David, in a matter of months, you're getting married.
Yes, that is true.
And of course, that means you're not going to be around as much.
Well, just to prepare for it, just to get some stuff done, I suppose.
Plan.
I'm not very well prepared, Neil. I haven't even got my ring yet. I haven't got my suits yet. It's coming soon. All of the stuff Natasha needed to do was done, the day after I proposed.
Well, David, the reason we're telling our listeners this is, like we say, you're not going to be around for every pod going forward now. But, you will be checking in as often as you can. And, special guest status.
People will miss me so hard. They will. I think they love me.
Well, I mean, we might get less listeners in Ireland because I feel your Irish pronunciations are some of the.
And more listeners in Ireland, you mean, if my pronunciations are putting people off.
But, David, I have lined up our first guest co-host.
Tell me.
Our new guest co-host going forward on some episodes. He's not going to be with us all the time. And what we're going to be trying to do is have kind of like an all-star revolving lineup of people. So if you want to come on We Needed Roads and you love watching all the latest TV shows and movies and just want to talk about them, drop us a message on Twitter, DM me, and we'll get you on the pod.
I feel like if you're this far into this episode as well, you're invested.
You're invested.
You're in with us.
You're a hardcore listener.
You're here.
And this is your present. This is our gift to
Your
you.
present.
You can be on the pod too. You can be the new David.
Oh man.
Just
being replaced. You better not blow up with me not being on it. Then I'll be the reason.
I didn't catch that.
Alexa, I'll tell you again, mate. You better not blow up.
The scary thing is, David, our first guest co-host, Jose Lopez, who is joining us. He's joining us all the way from across the pond, David, from Tampa, Florida.
What a place to be, Tampa Bay.
And so, Jose will be joining me on our next episode, David. Are you going to tune in as a listener?
I haven't listened to a single podcast, mate.
I know. I don't think you even listened to them when you edited them, did you?
I don't actually know if you cut me out of every episode and it's just you talking to yourself.
I mean, that would be a lot of work for no payoff, really, wouldn't it?
I don't know if that happens. It might do.
But we do have another link, David. Jose also is an ex-Princess Cruises employee, just like you and me.
I bet you he had like a way more contracts.
He had more than you, but not more than me.
I
worked with him twice. I worked with Jose on the Star Princess, and he was my drinking buddy. And I worked with him on the Diamond Princess, and he was also my drinking buddy. And then he was my driver for a day because he came down and visited me in Florida. In Miami? Because I once had to get off a ship in Miami to go join another ship in Miami that was coming in a couple of days later. So Jose drove down for the day, showed me around. I was like, hey, that's literally Miami Beach. So yeah, we're going to be getting
drive,
a bit.
Tampa to Miami.
It's like 5 hours.
Yeah, it's a long drive.
Would you drive 5 hours to see me, David? Would you?
Mate, I wouldn't, mate. I pissed off when I have to drive to Dover. Dover's like 30 minutes.
It's 17 minutes through the valley.
Yeah,
we have a valley.
That's far enough.
Yeah, so this is it, David. When are you going to be back?
I tell you what, Valentine's Day.
And yes, you're going to be joining us again for our next set of top 10 episodes. And we're going to be doing a 2-part top 10 romantic films of all time. You did say romantic comedies. I was like, nah, we're just going to keep it romantic films because a lot of my ones are.
You're the one that said romantic comedy. You're
the one who said romantic
with
comedies.
Yourself again.
No, you said romantic comedies.
Find it.
You want to put in all your Richard Curtis films.
I do want to put in my Richard Curtis films.
There'll be maybe one of his films that makes my list at best. At best. We're not doing this now. We're not doing this now. So, folks, if you're still with us, apologies.
Not here.
And no, we're not guessing. We're done. Okay. You're banished, David. You are banished to the Phantom Zone. You're going to be in one of those spinning little.
Realm.
You're going to be in one of these spinning little discs until I decide to bring you back again, because I have now gone mad with power. And like that, he was gone.
We Needed Roads.